The Outer Banks, Paradise on Earth, or so we've been told. In reality, Outer Banks is a 30-episode TV series exclusive to the streaming service Netflix. The series released way back in 2020 and is still going strong with its fifth and final season being announced this year. The series itself is a mix between treasure hunting and teen romance. The series' first season was critically acclaimed and loved by millions, which makes sense. Outer Banks, or as it's more commonly called, OBX, has an amazing first season. One I still hold close to my heart to this day. Season 1 of OBX is full of twists, turns, and a feeling of adventure, as well as several 30-year-olds pretending to be 16. But it doesn't matter, because they make it work. And besides a few underlying plot holes, the story holds up pretty well, and seems extremely grounded in reality. However, the series being grounded in reality would soon be lost in future seasons. Now, before we get into the underlying issues in Outer Banks, I need to clarify that I've watched seasons 1 through 3 twice, and I have not seen season 4 fully yet. So, everything I will be discussing today will be in seasons 1 through 3, starting with season 2. While season 2 was pretty similar to season 1, it has several plot holes and mistakes that for me ruined the show. Before I get into the issues here, from here on out, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. Let's take Ward's fake death, for example. In this scene, Ward goes into his boat, this nice big yacht, and blows it up, and everyone assumes he's dead. Then we find out later he actually escaped by using scuba gear and hiding under the water. It's important to note that Ward's ship is completely surrounded by police. Someone 100% should have seen a man jump into the water with full scuba gear on. There are literally people everywhere. We also find out that the reason Ward did this was to clear his and Rafe's name. He took the blame for the murder of Sheriff Peterkin, which his son Rafe had committed. Ward leaves a video for his family, and the police taking blame for all the murders, including the one Rafe committed. Then, the police, based on the word of this man that everyone knows has been lying to everyone for years, they decide to let Rafe go from prison. This makes absolutely zero sense, especially since the police mentioned earlier in the season finding Rafe's fingerprints on the bullet. Several people have also testified to the police that Rafe was the one who shot Peterkin, including John B., who the police know was at the crime scene and witnessed the murder. If the cops would do even the bare minimum of asking Sarah and John B., two witnesses to the murder, they'd figure out Ward was lying to cover for his family. Not to mention, I don't know, maybe Rafe shooting at the cops when they tried to arrest him. All the evidence points to Rafe being involved, but the police just let him go. But this isn't the only instance of the police being fucked up. Earlier in season 2, we see the police punch John B. upon his arrest when he was cooperating with their demands. The officer then never gets punished for punching a cooperating minor in front of the whole police force and the SBI. While I'm sure there are several other serious plot holes in season 2, it was these three that bothered me the most. That's without mentioning Kira screaming murderer at Ward when they had evidence of him killing someone without him knowing. Like, I understand the point of that scene was so they could drop the camera and prolong the truth, but they could have just had someone make an accidental noise that led Ward to seeing them, and then they accidentally dropped the camera. That would have been way better writing, and it would have actually made sense. So, now that I'm done ranting, let's get into season 3. Now, this entire season is a mess. Like, seriously a mess. The first 3 episodes are the main problem, as they make no logical sense. The first issue comes when the Pogues are hiding in the unfinished motel in the Bahamas, and they have the phone of one of Carlos Singh's workers, who, unknown to them, has been killed by Singh. The teens trying to get Key back, who has been kidnapped by Singh, make a plan. The Pogues text Singh pretending to be his worker, telling him that they have Key's friends, and will pick a spot where Carlos can pick them up. However, Carlos, knowing his worker is dead, and that this is a setup from Key's friends, tracks their location using his phone. Then, instead of hiding the fact that he knows their location and can sneak up on them, he tells them that he has their location tracked and he will meet them where they are. This makes no sense, as Carlos is literally giving them time to run or prepare for his men to arrive. Any other person would sneak up and take the kids, since they don't know Carlos is tracking them. This is less of a plot hole and more of a logical mistake, but trust me, Season 3 is full of both. Just like in Season 2, the Pogues make several illegal entries into the United States, which would 100% be stopped by the Coast Guard and Border Patrol. We even learn later that there was a Coast Guard base in Outer Banks. Like, does this show just forget that the U.S. Coast Guard is a thing? Or does it just pretend they are very bad at their job? Again, this is just another logical mistake, but if you want a serious plot hole, then let's look deeper into Season 3. The Pogues have just escaped the Bahamas and have arrived safely on the Outer Banks. They now know that Ward is alive and that they are being hunted by Singh. However, none of them think to go to the police, and worst of all, the police hear of the kids' return, as well as the return of Big John, who was supposed to be dead, and they, being the police, never go and question any of them. Like, would the disappearance and reappearance of 5 kids and a supposed dead man not warrant some questions? Not to mention the legal challenge of bringing back Big John that would need to be dealt with. However, the show ignores this so that the cops can be unaware that Ward is alive, so the plot can push forward. Even though this news is big enough to get broadcasted on the news, the police never think to ask anyone what happened. I don't even have to say that this makes no sense, because this obviously makes 0 sense. None of this could possibly happen in the real world. Oh, and why is no one asking about Cleo, who is in fact an illegal immigrant? This is what I was talking about. Does the OBX know about the US and their strict border control systems? The cops even see her and know that the kids were out of the country, but they never even question her. Towards the end of Season 3, we get a chase scene where the Pogues have caused a car accident after robbing a train for what they think is the cross of Santo Domingo. They crash off a bridge, and the cops clearly see Key and JJ's faces. They are also driving right behind Topper's truck, which they escaped in. These cops would 100% have seen and recorded their license plate, and easily would have Toppers and the Pogues arrested in a day, even if they escaped. It's also stupid that in this same scene, the Pogues go back for JJ, who intentionally left the Pogues to distract the cops. By going back to get JJ, you're doing the exact opposite of what JJ is trying to do. Now, all these mistakes are annoying, but the one that simply contradicts what the show already established is the melting of the cross of Santo Domingo. The cross was mentioned earlier in Season 2 to be gold-plated, meaning its exterior is gold, but its interior is another material. However, Season 3 completely forgets this fact and melts the cross down as if it were solid gold. And I know Season 4 fixes this somewhat. After listing all of these logical mistakes and the plot holes, I need to mention that these are only a few of the mistakes I could mention in OBX. Like the fact that Rafe's furnace would be nowhere near hot enough to melt gold, and the absence of a middle class, and so much more. OBX has some serious flaws, and I'm hoping Season 4 will learn and improve what Season 3 messed up. In the end, I still love OBX, and I'm going to start Season 4 later this week. I just believe hundreds of people went over the script and approved it. But I hope that OBX and its team can learn from their mistakes and can make their next few installments more grounded in reality, instead of being set in a perfect paradise for convenient plot armor. But in the end, it's just a TV show. Maybe I should just turn my brain off and enjoy the action. The true purpose of Outer Banks is to give us a feeling of adventure, and that's exactly what they did. I'm Heintzel. Please consider subscribing and checking me out on Instagram at Michael Heintzelman. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.